Hi guys, it's India here, and I sat my UCAT exam 2 days ago and I scored 3090 in Band 1 in Situational Judgment, which I was really happy with, and I just wanted to share some tips and resources that I found along the way. So I'm going to do a few videos focusing on the different sections, the resources and my top tips. So this one's about resources. So the first resource I used, which was definitely the most helpful, was Medify. So Medify is quite expensive, so I got it for a month, the month before I sat the exam, for £50 a month. So it's quite expensive, but I did think it was really worth it. It's got really good thorough mock exams, and the marking which you get on each question and you get especially in the real exam, in the mock exams you do, is really comprehensive and I think covers it a lot better than the other resources do. So in terms of difficulty, I thought that the quantitative reasoning and decision making was a bit harder in the Medify practicing than it was in my actual exam. I thought that verbal reasoning was quite a bit easier in Medify though, and I think abstract reasoning was pretty much the same. So I think it was a really comprehensive, useful resource, and it had a few videos. I didn't really watch them that much, I kind of more focused on doing the questions, but I thought it was a really helpful resource and I would really recommend. So the next resource that I looked at was PassMed. So this is free. I only did a couple of practice papers on here. I only did a couple because I'd bought Medify at this point and I wanted to use the money that I'd spent. The worst thing about PassMed is the fact you can't use keyboard shortcuts. So in the UCAT you can use Alt-N and Alt-P and Alt-F to flag next and previous questions, whereas you can't do that on PassMed, which is quite frustrating. But all pretty much the same kind of difficulty as they were in my real exam, which is really helpful. Then for the UCAT official, so I wouldn't say this is the best resource in the world, but I'm very glad I did them all because ultimately that's what they're giving them to you for a reason. I would just say the calculator tool in the practice test is very frustrating because it doesn't work that well, whereas in the live test, although I struggled with the calculator, it wasn't for those reasons. So the calculator in the live test is a lot better than it is in the practice tests. It's kind of roughly like the real test. Verbal reasoning especially, that was definitely the best verbal reasoning resource I found, and it's free, which is obviously a benefit. Marking isn't as comprehensive, so whereas Medify's marking was really spot on, it was a bit clunky and a bit not that explanatory. And I also used the ISC medical book, which was really helpful at the start of my practice, especially because I could take it with me places and I got it free from somebody else, so it was really helpful in that respect. But I would say it's difficult because it's all on paper and the actual exam's on the computer, so it's better to get used to doing on the computer. But I'd say the verbal reasoning questions in here are particularly good, and at the front of each section they have a load of top tips which were really helpful. And the last thing was an Ace the UCAT book, which I got gifted to me. It was a helpful resource, had lots of tips and tricks, and it really helped me understand exactly what I was doing. So it's not really so much questions, it's more just understanding, and just the idea that you could use keyboard shortcuts and new ways of doing things, which is quite helpful. So yeah, so I've linked all of these below in the description, so I hope that's helpful. Good luck with your UCAT if you're sitting it this year or in the future some point, and I've got a few more videos coming just on the UCAT, so I hope that was helpful.